I am going to go ahead now and get everyone checked in. So I'm just going to go off the orientation of my screen. As I call your name, if you could just unmute and confirm that if you have a name on the screen, the name is correct. And let me know who you're representing here today in this hearing. So I see we have John Holthouse. Is that right?
That is correct. Yep. Representing Holthouse Signs,
Okay.
contractor on the work.
Great. Thanks. Welcome. I see we have Rob Steiner.
Yep, Rob Steiner is here representing High Tech Signs contractor.
Okay. Welcome. I see we have an AJ Johnson.
Hi, this is Andy Johnson, and I'm representing Life Center Organ Donor Network.
Okay. And is Andy spelled with a Y or an A or an I?
An I.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome. See, we have Wes Menzel from the zoning department here. Hi, Wes.
Good afternoon.
And Barry Massa.
Yeah, Massa.
Massa.
Yeah, I'm with Life Center Organ Donor Network. I'm our executive director.
Okay, great. Welcome. Ms. Johnson, it looks like there's another screen here I'm seeing that you may have tried to sign in. Is it okay if I just remove that one?
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
Sure. All right. Great. So the last thing I need to do here before we get started is just to read through our hearing script. This will just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll jump right into it. So this is the November 1st, 2023 session of the Zoning Hearing Examiner docket. My name is, again, David Sturkey. I'll be presiding over the hearing. The case before us is case number ZH20230155. That's 615 Elsinore. The purpose of the hearing is to allow applicants and any potential opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any potential opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. Anyone from the public, and I'm not sure that we have anyone here from the public. Life Center, the actual tenant in the building, is that right? That
is correct.
Signed. Okay.
Yep.
If we did, gotcha. If we did have anyone here from the public, they would have an opportunity to speak after the applicant had presented its case. I will give the zoning department, Wes Menzel, an opportunity to provide any testimony in addition to his staff report. In the event that any party were to testify or offer argument in opposition to this application, the applicant would have an opportunity to respond to that opposition. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. So for our purposes here today, I'll allow all of you to, one or all of you, to tell me about the project, why I should grant it, what the relief is that you're requesting, any background you think is important for me to know. And again, one or all of you can speak. It's really up to you how you want to orient your presentation. I'll hear from Wes. I'll have some questions along the way. I'll let you guys make any closing remarks, and then we'll wrap it up. After all presentations have been made, I'll close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. I may also, I'm sorry, if there are any technical difficulties with the Zoom technology, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly, but if there is some defect that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with the hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. All right. At this point, I just need to swear in all of our witnesses. If you intend on providing any testimony here today, making any comments, asking any questions, making any statements, really doing anything other than just strictly observing, the zoning code requires that I swear you in. If you know you'd like to provide something now, I'd like to collectively swear all those people in together. If you're not sure, I can always swear you in later. But again, if you know you'd like to, if you could please take yourself off of mute now, raise your right hand, and I need everyone to answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do. Yep.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. Who'll be taking the lead? Is it John? Is that why the hand was raised?
Yeah,
or was
sure.
that accidental? Any one of you can take the lead. But yeah.
Well, at some point, if you don't mind, John, you're doing the signage part of it. I just want to give a little update about Life Center, if you don't mind.
Sure. However you'd like to do it. The floor is yours.
So Life Center Organ Donor Network is one of 56 federally designated organ procurement organizations in the United States. We are designated by Medicare to for the greater Cincinnati area to handle all organ, eye, and tissue donation. Right now, there's 106,000 people in the national wait list that are waiting for an organ transplant, about 600 of which are located right here in the greater Cincinnati area, which includes people, children at Children's Hospital and those at Christ and University of Cincinnati on the organ wait list. And, you know, what we are looking for, one of our jobs, besides facilitating organ, eye, and tissue donation, is to provide outreach to our community to get more people to register as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Because we know when the more people register, the more times that people then and their families say yes when they're in that position to be a donor. And quite frankly, it leads directly to more lives saved. And you could see since 2014, over the last 10 years, we have had steady increases in the number of donors that we've had, and it directly correlates to people signing up on the registry, which Andy leads our efforts on the community outreach. So by having that signage and using the Donate Life, which is right behind me, symbol, it's kind of a national symbol for donation, and we're going to put that on the building as well. And we hope that even just seeing that spurs people to, when they get asked the question at the BMV or do it online, that they say yes to being a donor.
Okay.
Mr. Sturkey, if I could just provide some additional feedback.
Yeah. Again, however
so
you all want to do this.
thank you. Thank you. So Barry talked a lot about what it is that we do as an organization, but I really want to just highlight, you know, we serve the community, and primary stakeholder are donor families. And so donor families are people who have lost loved ones who've passed away, but they've been able to give the gift of life as organ donors, organ, eye, and tissue donors. We have an aftercare team that works with these donor families, and that work happens here at Life Center. So very often, regularly, we have donor families who are coming here really, quite frankly, in the worst time of their life, because they've just lost someone unexpectedly, and they're very anxious. And so we've had situations where there have been just traffic issues because it's just the way that the building is situated. It's hard to get here. And then not having that signage, people get confused. And really our number one duty and responsibility is to support these families. We do that over the course of 18 plus months. And so having that signage really would help us to better serve our constituents, quite honestly. And so that is part of our mission. That is the main part of our mission. Also working with recipients and providing them resources. And so the visibility is just, it's so important. It's something that we haven't had since we've been in the building. And, you know, there's an impact there, and people seeing that Donate Life symbol, similar to the TriHealth sign that is not too far from us. Seeing that sign, it just gives people that identity and kind of gives them a sense of comfort. And that's really our goal. We want to provide the community with that sense of support and comfort. And we feel that having that kind of visibility would really help us to serve greater Cincinnati and have a better impact.
Okay.
Especially with how difficult Elsinore and that Reading area is to navigate.
Right. It is. And, you know, we're not asking for any additional signage that's been allowed by code. And actually 318 square feet, I believe, is what is allowed by code. We're asking for 225 square feet.
Gotcha. Well, what I see here is the requested relief is to, so one is to extend the signage above the roof line,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and the other does look like a size variance. Wes, can we go out of order here just quickly, just to verify what the requested relief is, or what
Sure.
the code states?
So the size of the sign they're proposing is 301 square feet. And it also extends above the roof line, which is prohibited by the code. So they're kind of in conjunction with each other. So it's a size relief request and a, request to go above the roof line.
What's the permitted size on the building?
72 square feet in the OG office zone. No matter how wide the lot or no matter how wide the building is.
Okay,
That's the max.
got it. So Ms. Johnson, were you saying you didn't want to go bigger than the existing signage, or did you want to clarify?
Yeah, I can. I'm Rob with High Tech Science. I've been partnering with Andy now for about 8 months on this project. And from a manufacturing design, we actually, between the partnership between John here on the call and myself, we worked with you guys on the Tri-Health sign up at the Baldwin building. And the conversation kind of really spurred from that, the Tri-Health signage, and that the fact that they wanted a similar impactful sign for the Elsinore building. The Elsinore building creates a lot of challenges when it comes to actual signage design. I think the issue of the size that you mentioned was taking in consideration the blue background, the actual blue that the lettering is on. The current Elsinore building is a very dirty, dark, white, gray color and contrast. And it's a very thin kind of band, a signage band at the top of these buildings, where when these buildings were designed, that's where the signage would go. And the fact that this signage band is so thin to keep the size of a letter, when it comes to this, what size letter would fit within that band, it becomes so small that it's almost illegible. The deaconess sign that is currently there from a distance is it has no impact to it, especially when it comes to the scale of that building. So what we were doing is trying to create a background color, a contrast, which would be that blue that we proposed. And we don't really view that as the sign. The sign itself is the lettering and the symbol versus including that blue background. Again, the blue is just to create a pop, a differentiation between the lettering and the actual building itself. Then when you have the issue of it extending over the roof line, John and I, both on this call, did this exact same project with the city of Cincinnati when it comes to the Burke project on the west side of the city. We proposed Burke when they moved into their offices. They had the exact same situation where the sign band was too thin to allow for a size of letter that would fit when it comes to a visibility viewing distance for visitors, patients, customers. In that case, it wasn't patients at Burke, but we were granted a exact same concept as we're requesting here, where actually the sign goes above the roof line just a bit to allow for a little bit larger of a letter. So we kind of combined the solution we used at Burke with this current situation here and arrived at what is a sign that we feel is very proportional to the building itself, creates your visibility from a distance for patients, as Andy described, and again has a letter height size that is visible. So that kind of covers the blue. Our point is the blue should not be viewed as a sign. It's there, but it also provides a backdrop for the contrast. And by extending it above the roof, just a whisk, it's not going above the roof line a lot. Our idea would be just like Burke, it would wrap over the parapet wall and back down. So it would just give us a little bit more height to install or a letter that is sufficient to the height of the building and the viewing distance that patients will be needed.
Gotcha. Okay. Anything else from anyone on the applicant owner side here? Mr. Holdhouse, anything?
No, I mean, he pretty much hit all the bullet points. There's really nothing else. I'd be repetitive.
Okay. All right. I think I'll hold off on questions till I hear from the zoning department. Wes, anything you'd like to add?
I guess I just highlight a couple things in the report that we're not against necessarily a variance for size. We would support a variance for size based on the recent or other variances that were granted for the signs in the same location over the last 10 to 15 years, which I highlighted in the report. I think the extending above the roof line is, something that we had to, that's what the code says. So, I mean, I don't necessarily see that a strong case for going above the roof line. You could also go below. You could go downwards instead of upwards to get the same square footage that you would desire. And as far as wayfinding, which was mentioned, obviously people need to see the sign to locate the building, but I think a lot of people use their phone with the directional app on their phone now, so they may not necessarily need to see it from as far away or as, they have to look out their, I mean, the phone is telling you which way to go and where to turn and everything like that to get you to the parking lot. But I don't disagree that there's a need for signage on the building, as part of that is a wayfinding function. But I think that just from our perspective, we have to stay strong on the roof line component. But we do recommend, a variance matching, sign size similar to what was on there before, as I noted in the report. So I just thought I'd outline those couple of comments. Thanks.
Thanks.
I make
How
a
big is
comment?
the signage? Sure.
If you don't mind, just as a comment, I would just say two things. One is navigating the Elsinore Reading Road area is, if you ever been there, is very difficult with a GPS or without it. And I think we've all been having the case that GPS may not get you exactly where you're going.
That is true.
Okay.
Yeah, we have, I'm sorry if I could just follow up, Mr. Sturkey, we have had many situations where people aren't able to locate the building using GPS for the reasons Barry stated. And as I said, it really creates a lot of just anxiety and confusion specifically for our donor families, but also our recipients whose health is, or patients who are waiting for transplant, whose health is already compromised. And then just kind of the color of the building, as Rob mentioned earlier, it does not stand out. And we've had this issue since we've moved into the building, and people, quite frankly, don't know that we're here. And as you know, in order for us to really effectively serve the community, which is our mission, people need to be able to find us with ease, and just to be able, I think, to see that symbol is just, it provides them comfort. It's a positive for the community. And we really think it's really important. We are a fabric of this community, and we provide services to families that are just, again, going through the worst time of their lives. And so we really just want to be able to help alleviate that. And also it's just, there's that educational component about the work that we do.
Gotcha. So does anyone know how tall the existing signage is there?
I don't know the existing height of the letter per se. I do know that the proposed letter is less than the height of the sign band that's existing up there. The issue that comes into play, though, is that there's no contrast. But if I could backpedal just a little bit, it's my understanding that the purpose of a variance is to list any hardships that exist, and how is this differentiated from any other clients or any other buildings. I guess my question is, why would it have been granted somewhere, and this same solution to a problem that we've applied somewhere else, why would we not have that same equal opportunity? I mean, as a contractor who does the things right, one of the reasons we work with the companies that we do is that, we get behind the passion of what it is that they do. And our job is to create a compelling case as well as create a design that's going to be within the standards or within what other businesses in the area have done. So if the purpose of this variance is to present this exact situation, I guess my question is, what should we have done differently, given that we have met exactly what we've done in the past?
And Mr. Sturkey, if I could just also add, I'm trying to understand, again, I'm new to this process. It's been very educational, but I'm curious, like, Burke was allowed to have a sign over the roof. So that's what I'm trying to understand. And I guess that's in follow-up to what John was saying. So
you're trying to understand why Burke was allowed and why
correct.
You have to go through the hearing?
No, I just did
No.
it. No, that's not what I'm asking. They were granted this, right? If I'm understanding everything correct. Okay.
I believe that's the testimony of Mr. Steiner that preceded my tenure here as the zoning and hearing examiner. That's something that I can look up and I can examine, but I don't have any knowledge of that offhand. Ironically, I am looking at the Burke sign out my window as we speak because I'm in Centennial 2, which is right next to that building. So I mean, I can see that it's there, but I haven't had a chance to examine the application and some of the factors that were considered for that particular decision when it was made. So that is something I intend on doing. But just generally speaking, no two pieces of property or no two buildings or their surroundings are always the same, and so sometimes there are different factors that need to be considered. And so, to that end, could anyone tell me why they believe that this is analogous to the Burke building? I know you touched on it a little bit, Mr. Steiner, but is it roughly the same size? I mean, how far above the Burke building does the sign extend? Is this similar? That sort of thing. If anyone can speak to
you care if I jump in on that one?
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah, so same exact intent with Burke. So Burke has their identity similar to Life Center in the sense that the shape is the icon to the brand, and it's iconic not only to their letterhead, not only to what's on anything throughout the entire organization, it's what's also presented on the building. It's the identity that exists there. So when you're talking about Burke has, as you can see out your window, if you look out the window, you'll see the big capital B. In order to do very similar to maximize the size to achieve the exact same situation, what we had done was we had built the letter size to be exactly given what the parameters were. Again, the oversized cabinet on the back is nothing more than to provide the ample contrast to the building. We selected a color that was attractive to the city, that was complementary to their logo, but probably the most primary thing that I'm sure you guys deal with all the time is the visual clutter that would come into play. We purposely picked this color that isn't an issue, and the only place that could even see this that would even present anything is the Cincinnati Ballet, which is 1,300 feet to the north. So, we did everything in our due diligence, both from the design side, both from our research side, to make sure that we presented something that wasn't a tall ask by any means. We did it in the most attractive and beneficial to both the neighboring tenants as well as the branding of Life Center.
Particularly with the Burke building, but I guess with any building or signage in general, does extending over the roof line in and of itself create more visibility, or is this just simply we just need the letters to be bigger and there's not enough room on the facade without going over the roof line?
No, in order to hold to the same standards of their logo, we needed to increase it because of the icon that's over Barry's right shoulder that you can see in the background. That's why the shape
And
inside
Mother Pelton right there.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. So that icon would not be as visible or as easy to recognize without the additional height of the sign that extends over the roof line. Is that right?
That's correct.
Gotcha. Okay. Another question with I know that you have the blue background in order to help the white lettering pop. Did you consider at all just a different color of lettering that would reduce the overall size of the sign? It looks like the Deaconess has just the lettering with no background, right?
I would say this, since I come to this building every day. The Deaconess sign during the day, you cannot see it because it blends with the building.
Mm-hmm. But that's because the lettering is white, right? My question is just would it make a difference on the Deaconess signage if the Deaconess signage was blue, if the lettering was blue instead of white?
I'm going to jump in. You can't really
Okay.
illuminate blue letter. You can't see it at night.
Gotcha. Okay.
93 years old. We've made some mistakes and we steer our customers away from it.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. All right. I think that's all the questions I have for now. Is there anything else anyone on the applicant owner side would like to provide, either in closing or otherwise, before we adjourn?
Just thanks for your consideration with this, because it really will make a difference in regarding to our mission of saving lives. So thanks for the consideration.
Sure.
David?
Wes, I'm sorry, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I just want to add a couple more points. As far as wayfinding, which we talked about a few minutes ago, I mean, they could do 2 ground signs, at eye level when you're driving near, right on the immediate perimeter of the building, to help with the wayfinding or finding of the building. Because I mean, it's harder actually to see the top of the building when you're so close. And the Burke sign, which I think you looked at on Google Street View, or maybe you said you looked out the window. So I looked at it on Google Street View. It does extend above the roof line. Looks like maybe 2 or 3 or 4 inches or something like that. And then the proposal there, they submitted it, I think, is 1 foot 1 inch above the roof line. Maybe they can confirm that.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I think
one comment is, I was just looking at kind of the rendition that we did. If we were blessed to have this approved, if you look at the architectural features of this building, there is a stair step look to the facade of that building. And when John and I were working on this design proposal, by going above the roof line, we've covered why we believe strongly, it needs to happen. But we also sat back and said, by having this kind of bump up over the roof line, it almost makes it look like it's not even going above the roof line, the way the whole building facade steps up. It's like a stair step up to the left and down to the right. And this blue band would almost add to the appearance of the building. It matches the architectural features of that. Although it's, quote, over the roof line, I'm not sure anybody would even know that unless they were up there. It fits exactly into the stone features of the building itself. And so we took that into consideration in the design when we were proofing this out as well.
Okay.
So it fits very well.
Wes, did you have anything else you wanted to provide? Okay.
No, thanks.
Okay. All right. Anything else in closing from the applicants?
No, we appreciate the opportunity just to talk with you and share about our mission and our work in the Cincinnati community. So thank you.
Sure, you're welcome. And I want to thank all of you for your time and your testimony here today. So I think we'll leave it at that. I would like to take a look at some past precedent on this before I make a final decision. I know that I think right before I started, there was a zoning board of appeals hearing on signage on this building that I would like to review. Wes, I'm not sure if you've mentioned that in your staff report, but and also with the mention of the Burke building, I think I'd just like to take a look at some of those past cases and consider them before I make a formal decision. So I'll do that. I mentioned at the beginning of the hearing that it typically takes about 2 weeks to complete these decisions. What I do is I put it all in writing in a formal decision that outlines all of the standards and all of my reasoning for my decision and any potential conditions of an approval. And then as soon as I'm finished, I put it into a PDF and I email it to everybody who's in the hearing here. So you all will have it really just moments after it's complete. If it is approved, that's the point at which the zoning department in West can approve the permitting for the zoning. If it is denied, whether it's approved or denied, there is an appellate process. So you'll have 30 days to appeal if it is for any reason denied and you'd like to have another reviewer look at it. Any questions about any of the process stuff? Okay.
And then,
Okay, great.
like we said earlier, we based it on the Tri-Health sign that's right up the road from us too. So maybe look into that as well.
I am, yeah. I've got flagged the Tri-Health sign, the signage that's existing on this building, and also the Burke signage, and then any signage cases that were referenced in the staff report as well.
Okay.
So
thank you.
Sure. Okay. Well, if you guys have any questions in the meantime about the process or procedure, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer those. If you want a status update on the decision, I'm also happy to give you guys that. Just reach out to me directly. I can't take any more new evidence. So if you are driving past a sign on your way home today and you want, unfortunately, I can't consider any new evidence. So I promise you I'll be thorough in my review of prior signage approvals and, consider all of them and mention them in the decision. So thank you all again. Hope you have a wonderful day. We are adjourned and